Guys, it's Kim Taylor with Kim Taylor Real Estate Group here with my friend Deborah. We've been cutting up before we started the video. Um, just wanted to bring her on and introduce her. I know her through, we're both realtors together, and she joined JPAR, and that's really when her and her best friend Tabitha joined JPAR, and Tabitha joined my team, and found out that Deborah does something extra on the side. She is an Enneagram coach, and we have brought her on, and she really helps. I coach with her every week. She coaches with or meets with my team members, and the importance of that is knowing how we can each interact with each other. And also, if you can pinpoint what number they are, then you can know how to interact with them too. And I am butching this, so I am going to let her take over and let her explain what the heck the Enneagram is. Deborah, take it away.
All right. Thanks, Kim. Thank you so much for having me on here. So I'm
And
sure
it's July. I was gonna say something about my July 4th shirt. It's July.
Yes,
Is it the 5th or 6th?
it's a 6 today.
Oh, yes. Okay.
It
Happy
is. Well,
post July 4th to
yes,
you. Hope you had a
yes.
great day. Okay,
Happy
sorry, I didn't mean
post
to
July
interrupt.
4th to you.
Okay, back to
Uh,
Enneagram.
so I'm sure a lot of you have seen the Enneagram on Instagram. And it's your summer vibe and it's your fall playlist, and it's very Instagrammable. I first learned about it from one of my kiddos and learned that I'm a type 2, and I was like, oh, that's fun. Okay. And through some difficulties in my corporate world and just needing to make some changes in my life, seeing patterns that I just didn't like, I started to dig in a little bit more. And I learned that the Enneagram is the most powerful tool for personal and collective transformation. It has completely changed the way I see myself, the way I see the people around me, the way I love my people. And so I thought, other people need to know this. So I've talked about the Enneagram for forever with lots of people. And so now I've started coaching people. The cool thing about the Enneagram is it talks about distinct strategies that we use individually for relating to ourselves, to our people, and to the world. A lot of times you might say, I would never do that. Well, that person would probably say that about you too, because they have a different strategy for interacting with the world. So if we can become aware of our strategies and aware of the things that we do, then we can understand it. We can change the ones we want to change. And so it really becomes an opportunity to learn how to love yourself and love others better. It's the key to it is awareness, and seeing those patterns in your life and how does this keep showing up in my relationships, and how does this keep showing up in my team? I used it a lot with my kids. I have 5 kiddos and they're all very different. And I remember reading an Enneagram profile to one of my kids, and they said, you just read the inner workings of my mind. And it gave us language to communicate. It gave us tools so that I can understand him better. He can understand me better. So it has been the most powerful tool that I have come across. Now, I use other tools in my coaching, but this is the one that really helps because it looks at the why you do something versus the what you do. So
That's good.
yeah,
I love that. So I have always used the disc. The disc profile's been around forever.
Yes.
And I'm an influencer. And then I tapped into the 5 love languages. Everybody knows about the love languages. Mine is acts of service. So if anybody wants me to love them, just come clean my house. And then we tap into this, and I discover that I'm a social 3. So why don't you do this? Why don't you? People are like, so talk about real quick about how many numbers there are, and maybe what each name is on the number.
Okay, so there are 9 numbers. Some people go, this is just another personality test, and you can't fit all of the world into 9 different categories, which is very accurate. It is so much more complex than just 9 numbers because you have subtypes and things like that. So type 1 is the perfectionist. Type 2 is known as the helper or the giver. Type 3, which is what you are, Miss Kim, is the achiever. Type 4 is sometimes called the romantic. Type 5 is the observer. Type 6 is the loyalist. Type 7 is the enthusiast. Type 8 is the challenger. I want to say the defender, and that wasn't right. And then type 9 is the peacemaker. I don't typically hold to the names of the types because they are so very different. Kim, you and I could be the same type and have similar experiences in our lives and be completely different, show up completely different in the world.
Right.
And so the cool thing about it is that each type falls into a center of intelligence. So psychologically, we have 3 centers of intelligence. We have the mind, the heart, and the body. And so we're dominant in one of those, and one's going to be repressed. One we just don't use as well. And so we can use this learning and this awareness about ourselves to bring up a center of intelligence that we have. We just don't know how to access it as well. And so it's a lot of fun to talk about the 9 different types, but it's also, it can be a lot of work. It can be a lot of, it's a lot of
digging. It's a little digging.
Yes, but
when you go through freedom, it's like peeling an onion, peeling the layers of. That's like last night we went to see. We had an improv. Gordon and I went to dinner, and then we had some friends who went to dinner, and we saw on Facebook. Oh, y'all went to South Lake? Well, we're in Roanoke. And they were like, well, we're fixing to go to the movie. So we met up at Tinseltown and saw Jurassic World, or whatever the new Jurassic Park is. And so when it was over, Dina, my friend, and I, we went to the bathroom, and she's like, did you cry at the end? And I'm like, why would you cry? Like, there was nothing to cry about. She goes, I kind of got teary-eyed. And I'm like, so that's part of my repression that I've learned is that I don't have time for feelings. I don't have time for emotion. I don't cry. And so trying to tap into that, Deborah digging into my emotional side.
Yes. Learning how to use our feelings.
Yes.
So the Enneagram can be an incredible tool for you individually, for you with your family, but it can also be a great tool for your teams. You mentioned earlier learning a little bit about your clients and what type they are. We can't ever type someone else because they need to be the one to type, but you can learn enough to know this person is probably in the withdrawn stance. And so they're going to respond to conflict in this way. And so I know I can do this a little bit differently and have a much more effective conversation with this person than if I do it the way I normally would.
Right. Yeah,
so it just becomes a great tool for learning how to interact with your people.
That's a very good analogy right there. And then, like you said, with your kids, just typing all my kids and figuring out what makes them tick. And Abby, my baby, was the hardest to figure out. And when I found out what she was, I was like, holy cow. Like, it was like 2 + 2. Things just made so much sense.
Yep.
My boys, two of my boys were easier to type, and one was not easy to type. But I think it's just been like the coolest, taking your relationships to the next level. And I'm still learning about myself.
Yes.
I'm not there, but just helping in your marriage too, understanding why Gordon does what he does and says what he does, and then how to respond to that. I'm still figuring that out also. So that's good. I love it. So as far as, let's say anybody wants to learn more about this, where are you in your journey of, do you want to, are you open to talking to people or
Absolutely.
or groups?
Absolutely.
Okay. I thought you were.
So one of the things we can do is a typing session, which just will help you to narrow down your type if you're just not 100% sure. And then, I can work with you one-on-one with coaching. I can do team building as well as group coaching. There's a lot of different avenues that we can take. I will eventually offer group sessions that you can be part of, to go through a certain particular part of the Enneagram. So I have a lot of flexibility right now as to what it is that you might need as an individual. And if you're just curious and want to learn some more, then we can just kind of dig in and learn a little bit about yourself, and then you can take and run with it. And then if you need to come back and talk about some more stuff, we can do that.
Yeah. I mean, and it's just a good I love just meeting with you weekly because it's just a good I don't want to call it a counseling session, but they usually end up being a counseling
Well,
session. But, it's just good to sometimes we don't know why we act the way we do or
uh-huh,
why we and you find out that it's from a very deep rooted wound or something that happened to you as a 2-year-old little girl or
yeah,
3-year-old little girl. It's like, why am I acting this way, or why
mhm,
do I don't respond? So
yeah,
it's been awesome. I've
yeah.
loved it. And millennials, you can ask any millennial and they all know about the Enneagram. I didn't want to tap into it because it was too complex. My 26-year-old son was very much into the Enneagram, and he's the one who really started all this. And once you get into it and just start to learn it, it's like, holy cow, this is so cool. So
Mhm.
anyway, I appreciate you coming on with me today and just
Absolutely.
chatting about it and explaining. And we'll leave her information below, so if anybody wants to reach out to her, help yourself. She's
Yes.
not just Kim Taylor Real Estate Group's Enneagram coach, although we would like to claim her as our own. But Deb is
Well, thank you.
available for anyone.
Yes, yes. I'd love to walk anyone through their journey of just self-discovery and finding breakthrough.
I love it. Thank you
Yeah.
so much for coming on today.
Thanks, Kim.
Okay, we'll talk to you later.
All right, bye.
Bye.